I would say what is preventing most people from moving in the direction that they want to move is a lack of discipline. And no one wants to hear that answer. It's the harshest answer. Yeah. It's actually a slap in the face because they know it's true. They actually know it's true.
I found out that your worst enemy is you and your ability to stay true to the thing that you want to do. If you lie to yourself and cheat yourself, well then you're not fooling anybody but yourself. But if you actually get up every day and you got that action, and you got that energy that's like, I have to go and do this because I'm trying to get here. And you know every day you're working towards that, well, you're gonna get there. It may take you longer, some may do it shorter, but you're not going to lose.
And so as long as you can be in a place where you're constantly looking to the next place, next place, next place, next place, and you don't let anything get in the way of that or hinder that, then you have a really good chance to be everything you ever wanted to be in life.
I think what you were bringing up with Joey is a real good point, that a lot of people say, oh, I just want to sort of, they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the fuck you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world.
You are the solution to your future. It's not your daddy. It's not your boyfriend. It's not your boss. You are the solution to your future. And I want you to remember the first 2 points. No. You are the most powerful person in your life.
So sometimes when you think you're making the wrong decision or you have to making the toughest decision because you're thinking about somebody else and the consequences, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
And it's so true. I mean, when you think about, like, I'm 54 years old right now, like that. I mean, it just fucking flew by. And you think when you're young that you have all this time, you have no time. There's no time. I mean, one of the quotes on the wall in the gym in there is, you know, there is no tomorrow, from Rocky 3. You know, there is no tomorrow. Fuck that shit. Let's get all this shit done today.
You need a massive action plan. You got to get yourself in action, not wait till everything's perfect. And if you try something and it doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. Most people try it didn't work, and they give up. It's like I said to people, how long would you give your average child to learn how to walk? You know, before you cut them off and said, dude, you're just not a walker.
You know, if you decide I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, you know, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it.
I mean, it's been a struggle some days, I won't lie. Some days I'm like, man, this is tiring, this is hard. Now I embrace the hard, and I want that every single day. I don't ever want anything to be easy. I think whenever it's hard, like, you really, really, really deserved it. If it's hard and you get it done, you gave everything to it, that's yours. Nobody can take that from you.
When you're pushing to be better, when you're trying to progress your life, when you're trying to improve your situation, it is always going to feel like a struggle. It's always going to feel extra hard, and you're always going to feel like you're fucking it up. That is the nature of what it feels like to push into new territory, to expand your personal boundaries.
You're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself, right? So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself.
Be the now of what you want to be later. It starts right now. And if you're not doing the now, don't ever expect the later to be the person you want to look in the mirror. Everyone's like, oh, later in life, I want to do this. Later in life, I want to do that. Later in life is turning around, looking in the mirror right now. That's the later in life. And unless that turnaround is something in progression, later in life ain't gonna be anything different.
If you're in a leadership position, you can't talk all the time, right? Obviously, as a boss, you need to communicate, you need to talk to your people. But if you talk too much, guess what happens? People stop listening to you. You're putting out too much information. They don't know what's important and what's not. So that's bad. You can't go too far in that direction. The other direction is you can't not talk enough, and now no one knows what's going on, no one knows what's happening. So you have to be balanced, and that's the whole idea of the dichotomy of leadership.
And that bill from regret is generational. And there's a lot of people listening to this that bill has been passed on from generation to generation, and you are holding that bill right now. And somebody in one of your generations has to pay that bill off.
You know, people will only love you if you suppress yourself for them. For example, I always get picked on in Louisiana for ordering healthy food or being in a certain amount of shape. It's almost like it's a reverse of fat shaming. You know, they want to suppress you and make you smaller so they can feel better about themselves. And if you realize that you're getting manipulated in that way, it starts to become very easy to take control of your own life, because they're going to love you until you do something great enough that they're going to now become uncomfortable and have to look back at their selves and the decisions that they made and be uncomfortable with themselves. And the only way they can fight that is to suppress you, because now they have to use you as a frame of reference from coming from the same place. And I think that's why suppression always gets wrapped in love, is people act like they care about you or they tell you you've changed. Well, fucking, I hope I've changed. I hope I'm changing every day, because that's where all the happiness is. You know, it's always climbing the mountain, not getting to the top, right?
You have to understand, just like if you were going to get into a cold swimming pool, when you first jump in there, it's cold. And you jump out of the water and you're like, oh, you can't breathe. And then after a few minutes, it's normal. You don't even notice it, all right? And so what you're going through is the acclimation process to expanding the boundaries in your life. When you're pushing to be better, when you're progressing to be better, it is always going to feel like a struggle. It's always going to feel like you are not winning, when in fact, you actually are.
People cap themselves. They look at somebody, and because their mind can't imagine it, they then start talking shit. He has to be doing this, or he has to be doing that. There has to be some trick. There has to be some potion. This is bullshit. No, it's because you cannot allow your mind to open up for the possibility of it can be done, which is why you being people are where they are today. Because you shackled your mind to have limits. And everybody has a limit, but find it first.
We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision, but the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance, because it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value. And I mean this technically. So almost all the positive emotion we feel, that's experienced in relationship to a goal. And so in some sense, you want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating. It's like Sisyphus pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together and your life does get better and richer and more abundant.